why is the Swiggy HDFC partnership such a great GTM?
Beautiful product doesn't mean everybody is going to buy it. The way you reach out to your user and the way you make user adopt to your feature or the product that you launch, that's the core of everything that you do. So it's distribution and it's adoption. Money is something that definitely fuels your GTM, that helps you reach out to your user faster. But is it the only way to do GTMs? Questionable. If I am a HDFC or a SBI and I am wanting to launch a new credit card and I want to market that, would I want to actually go and find users who want to take that credit card on a Facebook or Insta or a YouTube? Or I know that there is a platform which is already built where my users are sitting. Why not just collaborate with them? The best thing that they did is most of the leadership was writing content on why they did it. If I am using the credit card on Swiggy, it's already feeded in, I'm not moving from this platform. So LTV, retention, stickiness, every damn thing is going to get affected because of it.
First of all, super happy to have you here. Finally, I can tell everybody watching this that it's going to be a masterclass on GTM because itna baat kar rahe the, and I think it's super exciting the things we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think pehla, we should start with why talk about GTM, right?
GTM, right? Pretty interesting. One of the buzzwords of the ecosystem right now. GTM is something about reaching your customer with the product or the service that you have built in the most viable way. And when I say viable, it involves efficiency with respect to man hours, efficiency with respect to the cost that you incur, and the ROI that you get out of it. GTM can solve for, multiple different aspects of your product or the feature that you have built, right? It depends on the objective that you have on the product or the feature that you are building. It might be for getting new users. It might be about retaining more customers, right? It might be about increasing breadth of a customer across your different services. It might also be about increasing the conversion funnels. So it can be anything. And the whole GTM strategy actually changes based on the objective that you have. Why I love GTM, right? It's such a dear topic for me. First, it doesn't involve just one single aspect that you have to look at. It is such layered topic. It starts from your insights, then you solve for distribution, you solve for users, you look at metrics, you look at how exactly the learnings that you have got through these kind of GTM, how you are going to better it out, right? So making sure that every single aspect comes together to make sure that the product that you have built or the feature that you are going to launch is being adopted by maximum number of users that you want to target. That's the beauty of GTM.
I would like to tell the line which I really loved when you said, when you build a great product and when you have a small team, it's fine. But if you don't ensure GTM and distribution, so your friends and family use the product.
Oh, absolutely. That's my patent line, right? You always want your friends and family to use it, but that shouldn't be the end point, right? You always want other folks to use it as well.
For early founders and for early teams watching this, why should they care? Right. And let's talk about why did you start to care? When did you start to think GTM? Let's talk about your days at Sportsify.
At Sportsify, what we were trying to do is build a sports community and connect that particular community or people who are part of that community, both online and offline. Bring people, amateur people like me and you who are, busy in their own professional lives, how to bring sports back in their life. Any company which starts off, right? We didn't have so much of money to invest in paid media, and we didn't have so many resources from day one to invest in SEO. The best thing that happened with us is we realized that whatever we have built, if we are not able to convey every single point or every single thing that we are doing in the company to our users, we'll never get them on our platform, no matter how great our product is, how great our service is. It doesn't matter. The user has to experience your service or the product. And that's when wonders happened for us on Facebook. Groups at that time was the kick-ass distribution platform for us. So we decided we are going to use groups. There were multiple groups, existing groups run by different other admins. We became part of it. We made sure that we started distributing our own content through that. Eventually, we understood that there are big problems with the existing groups. And the problems were related to people not open or brands or companies not open to provide the best input for the user, what the user is looking for,
Hmm.
rather than keeping the group only for their company. Why not give value to the user through that group? And that was the insight that we carried. We made groups that were city-based, we made groups that were area-based, and eventually in about like 3 months of effort, we started seeing the results. In about 6 months, 1 year time frame, we had the biggest groups that are still existing, by the way. Now we made this group. Facebook in itself started promoting the group because the content was being liked by the user. And the best part was, we never stopped our competitors to come and post on our group. Never ever did that.
Yeah.
I think Danish, who was from Playwright, was one of our competitors. And we still remember both of us used to discuss the same things. Hey, you know what? The pie is small.
Yeah.
We need to increase the pie. That was the major insight. When we look at GTM, right, if we would have just stopped on the distribution network that Facebook provides, we wouldn't have been able to scale the platform. The idea was that people who come to our website, people who have subscribed to our newsletters, people who are our customers, they need to know that platforms that they are visiting, they are existing over there. So instead of a WhatsApp group or instead of a WhatsApp channel, we made sure that everybody who was part of our newsletters became a part of our distribution channel for people to get informed about those groups and enter there.
Yeah.
Right? Money is something that definitely fuels your GTM, that helps you reach out to your user faster. But is it the only way to do GTMs? Questionable.
Let's understand your nuance around GTM, around insights. How every GTM is built on the back of an insight. Right?
Yeah.
What is it exactly?
Insights is such a core part of GTM. You can make products, you can make whatever features that you want. If you don't have the right insight, you will not be able to build great features and great products for users. Most of us generally look at insights from a micro perspective that, okay, I have this big set of data, I'll go through this, and then I've understood, okay, this is something that the user needs. But that's not the real way of building insights. The real way of looking at insights is to club macro and the micro part of the story together. How do you stitch it together? If you're looking at macro and micro into silos, you won't be able to get the right user insight which can be scaled through your products that you're building. And many such examples are there, right? Look at what YouTube did with clips. Nobody would have told them through any such data points that clips is a product that's needed. How the macro industry was changing, right? The Reels was fashionable. It is till now. They were using YouTube videos, using different editors to cut the videos, crop it, put liners on top of it, distribute it through their WhatsApp channels, send it to friends, sound super funny about things, right? That is something which you get by observing the different trends that is happening on different other platforms as well. And that's when the whole idea came in, that why not have a feature inside YouTube itself that allows user to just clip a video and share it on the channel they like, helps them bring back the user back on YouTube as well. So that's a macro insight, right? That you club along with the micro insights that you have on your product. And then there is a distribution layer attached to it. Look at how most of the UPI products have chat as a feature built in. Most of the UPI apps have split bill as a feature built in. What was the insight there? The insight is, I pay to my friend or I pay for a party, people need to give me money back. I actually go back to WhatsApp, tell them, hey, you owe me $49. Why not have that particular product in the user journey? I pay for certain things, I split the bill on the same product. That helps me build on the network effect of the user. It not only helps me retain that user or use one more feature to get hooked to my product and build more stickiness. It also helps me bring new users, people who are not on my platform, right? I'm actually asking them to pay me on that particular platform. That's like a kick-ass insight that was getting built, right? These insights were always there. It's just about how you are using and clubbing both micro and macro insights together, stitching them, and then thinking about the product and the feature that you want to build for the audience.
Before we get into the collaboration between Swiggy and HDFC and why that's a GTM success, what's happening with co-branded credit cards in India? Like, what's happening? Why are so many co-branded credit cards coming up? What's the market? What's the insight? What's really happening?
It's a great distribution platform for them. And at like minimum CAC value. So if I am a HDFC or a SBI and I am, wanting to launch a new credit card, and I want to market that, would I want to actually go and find users who want to take that credit card on a Facebook or an Insta or a YouTube? Or I know that there's a platform which is already built where my users are sitting. Why not just collaborate with them? That's like the basis of any co-branded credit card from the bank's perspective, to move or bring the users into their whole ecosystem of different products that they have, right? And then build on the whole LTV scenario that they can. From a company's perspective, right? Multiple scenarios can be there, right? We were talking about Swiggy scenario, right? Why HDFC? Right, firstly. So India's credit card market is basically controlled, almost like 70% of the market is taken care by the top four players, which is HDFC belongs to that, right? And as far as I know, they are the leaders in the market. So firstly, a product where people have adopted the max, right? Number two, why go with a co-branded credit card, right? Few insights would have been definitely on the micro part, when they would have looked at their data points that, okay, our users are using credit card as one of the key payment gateways, right? And people who are using credit card as one of the payment gateways seem to have maybe a higher order value, right? Maybe a higher retention, right? Or some kind of a signal that would have been coming that somebody who is a credit card user seems to be more sticky on our platform, right? Or can this particular product showcase the same macro insights that when a user starts using credit card on a certain platform where they have already filled in details, they just have to enter OTP and the CVV and the whole transaction happens. Does this make a user more sticky on my platform and makes it difficult for my competitor to steal this user from me, right? So if I am using the credit card on Swiggy, it's already feeded in, I'm not moving from this platform. So, LTV, retention, stickiness, every damn thing is going to get affected because of it, right? And hence the big blown GTM that happened from Swiggy's perspective was phenomenal.
I think Swiggy plus HDFC, it's all the rage, by the way. I think everybody watching has been to Swiggy, has seen the HDFC card pop up, has received an HDFC card on their grocery order. Why is the Swiggy HDFC partnership such a great GTM?
So we talked about insights, right? So insights led to a good product that they built, right? Now, beautiful product doesn't mean everybody is going to buy it or everybody is going to use it, right? The way you reach out to your user and the way you make user adopt to your feature or the product that you launch, in this case, it's the credit card, right? That's the brain. That's the core of everything that you do, right? So it's distribution and its adoption. People generally think that in Swiggy's case, it's a scaled product, right? Millions of users use it. But the nuances or the difficulty for the growth and the product team is super high, insanely difficult to do any kind of GTMs inside such a product where there are multiple, verticals, there are multiple things you're doing, right? So multiple nuances in that. But we look at this particular GTM from two different perspectives. We look at distribution angle and then we look at the adoption angle. Let's look at the distribution angle. First thing that, mostly what we have seen in our ecosystem, right? You build a product, great. Let's roll it out through paid. Let's send push notifications. Let's send SMSs, WhatsApp, right? Let's just bombard the user wherever we want. That's the first thought process that comes in. That's not what they did. It was freaking intelligent stuff that they did, right? They did all the stuff that I'm talking about before, right? But they did a lot of other stuff that made so much sense. I'll give an example, right? During the the launch time, the best thing that they did is most of the leadership was writing content on why they did it. Till that time, it wasn't open for all.
Correct.
Right? Correct. It was just, few people got the access for it, right? These leadership people, they had their own distribution network, and LinkedIn, Twitter, everything, helped them distribute about this particular thing. Anything which a scaled platform like Swiggy does, all the bloggers, all the growth masterminds that we talk about, right? All of us have our own opinions. We all want to talk about it. That was one of the good distribution network for them. This is something that gave them the initial buzz around whatever they were doing. A lot of PR was done around it, right? So PR becomes one of the channels, content via leadership becomes one of the channels. But we'll talk about few interesting things that they did, right? When we opened the app, right? And this is such a crazy stuff that they did. They used an interstitial inside the app where they introduced the whole credit card, and the whole interstitial actually collapsed inside an icon. Why? They wanted to make sure even if Vikash is not checking the details about the credit card now, I want to make sure that Vikash knows where exactly inside the app he needs to navigate to check details later.
Yep.
Right? So beautiful use of interstitial, navigating a user inside the homepage of the app, helping him understand that, okay, you don't want to check it now, you can check it later. This is the place you need to go in. That was interesting. Using multiple post-transaction screens in the best possible way, right? People generally think, okay, my user is transacted. That's okay, let it be. But they made use of the post-transaction screen in the best possible way, helping me understand that this is the amount of money I could have saved if I was part of this whole credit card ecosystem. That is helping me think twice that, okay, let me just consider this. What happened with me is multiple distribution channels used by them. They sent me pushes, beautiful, made me understand every single detail about the product. What am I going to get? What is the reward system? How do I make sure that I can get this in just few clicks, right? I saw the user journey and everything, but I still didn't take it. They knew that on September 30th, my Swiggy One membership was going to expire. And Swiggy One membership was a part of their credit card reward system, right? And that's what we called as a good masterstroke, right? That it's not just about distributing your product knowledge to the user using the conventional channels or using the assets inside the product that you have or different widgets that you create for the product. It's also solving for different kind of trigger points you know about the user. And this is the micro insight, right? That comes from data that Vikash's Swiggy One membership is going to expire on X date. Make sure that he knows that you're going to get a Swiggy One membership if you're a credit card holder. That's a brilliant user journey mapping. And that was done brilliantly by them. And they didn't stop there, by the way, right? On, I think, September 27th, I ordered something from Instamart and I got a card. And I was so surprised to see that, dude, I didn't even opt for this card. Why did I get the Swiggy HDFC card, right? And I asked my wife, hey, you know what? Did you opt for it? And she's like, no, I didn't. And I went and touched the card. It was actually a paper card. I was like, wow, okay, I didn't visit your app. You made me aware of the whole ecosystem that you're trying to build. I checked all the details, but you're still making sure that this card thing is on top of my mind, right? That's like building the top of mind recall, right? So how did we start, right? You have your conventional channel, you use pushes, you use WhatsApp, you use PR, you use social, you use the leadership team, you use the whole app interstitial stuff, and you also made beautiful widgets for Swiggy HDFC cards. Building the right distribution and then making sure you're building right adoption using not just the conventional push channels, using your user journeys, your user flows. That was kick-ass, right? Which is not the first thing that comes into our mind, right? How do you make sure that user journeys are being used to communicate about your new product or new feature? So GTMs do not just consist of paid channel as one of the distribution mechanism or just PR or just social or ATL or television. So much stress should be given, and this is for all the growth marketers and all the product managers, right? That user journeys, user funnels are so much critical to the objective that you're trying to solve for, right? And that should be given almost, if not more, at least equal importance inside the distribution or the adoption strategy that you pick for GTMs.
I think two major takeaways, right? Not all insights are new products.
Absolutely.
Right? Not all insights can become big features. They can very contextually be used on the journey of your user. As a minor step to maybe increase your conversion funnel. Just one more step towards that process. Very interesting.
Let's take an example of AstroTalk. I just love this product, right? I'm a fan of this product. Now, the way they have enhanced their monetization strategy, right? You get a free chat, for X number of minutes. You're in the chat with an astrologer. Now, the insight that they have picked is not a micro insight. That is not coming out from data, right? As humans, what happens is if I'm in the middle of a chat with an astrologer, I bloody hell want to know every damn thing. And if the X number of free minutes that I got, when I was getting onboarded to the app is getting over, and they have put a beautiful ticker over there that shows you that, hey, you know what? Only 45 seconds free chat is available. Click here to recharge more. And that is not an obstruction in my journey. It's a part of my journey which is leading me to more monetization from a user, right?
Yeah.
And it's an insight that is coming from a user behavior, right? That users will not want to miss out on an opportunity. That I asked a question, the astrologer is typing it out.
Yeah.
I bloody hell don't want to miss out what exactly he has written about me. So beautifully done at the point where you want the user to get monetized in the most rightest way. Let's look at clips, right? YouTube clips is a kick-ass example of how a product with millions of users, so much of time spent on the platform, hasn't used a single rupee or a single dollar to talk about this feature. People like you and me have been talking about this feature on different platforms.
Yeah.
They haven't spent a penny. How does a YouTube distribute or talk about this particular feature, or tells their user that, hey, you know what? I built something kick-ass for you. You needed this. They have like multiple icons below the videos, right? The rectangular icons that we see. And clips became the third icon. So the CTRs on every single icon that we see from 1 to 8 or 1 to 5 is very different. It falls as much as we move towards the breadth. They had put clips as the third icon and had just one label on top of it as new. It was right on my face. I wanted to see what they have built. The best thing that they did was it was set up on one frequency per user. If I clicked on it once, it was not showing the new label. That went back to the fifth icon because the user knows that there is a clip that has been launched. I move that back to the original state. I don't keep it in front or keep it in front for certain days till the point the user is habituated with it. But that's a part of my user journey, right? No push notifications, by the way. No WhatsApp messages. No ads. No specific PRs done. Genuinely, people were talking about it because it's a great feature coming out from a great insight. Now, let's look at the lock screen feature, right?
Yeah.
We love watching YouTube videos, but certain times we just want to hear certain things. I put my phone in my pocket and suddenly, by mistake, I tap the screen. The video stops. I have to go back to the video again. And that's an insight that is coming out from talking to their users, right? It's not something which the data will show in an obvious manner. And that's a clubbing your user behavior, talking to your users with a great product that you can introduce with a lock screen that as soon as you press lock screen, your video, even if you tap on the video, the video will still run. And again, the whole distribution mechanism is not through any paid channel. Again, right? It's beautiful lock screen put on top, just highlighting that for, the new users that come on the platform, right? So the crux of the whole discussion around distribution is that do not depend on a certain channel. Think of channels based on the kind of users that you are building the product for. Use channels based on the kind of ICPs that you have selected and the objective that you have for building this particular feature. If it is for distribution or if you want to build awareness of this particular product, use the channels that can give you max awareness. If it is for building more adoption or increasing certain conversion rates, think of using your own product or user journeys along with the other channels that you have, right?
Yeah.
So it has to be like a combination of multiple things coming together in distribution and building the whole layer just below the insights layer. And one of the key things that I think most of the great growth and product managers do this nicely is measuring the metrics, making sure that you have decided certain metrics and certain achievements that you want to achieve from this particular product or feature that you have built. That's critical. If you're not doing that, that doesn't work. One thing that I want to specifically put a lot of stress is most of us tend to miss on documentation, right? Man, it is so critical. Why is documentation important, right? You'll be building multiple products, multiple features. You'll be having multiple insights about different ICPs that you think of. Most of them will not work. And that's your knowledge base. If you have not been able to build a knowledge base inside your company about the mistakes, about the things that have worked for you, about the channels that have worked for you, about the insights where you were actually bang on, about the learnings that you got from different experiments that you have done, about your failure points, you will never be able to improve on the next GTM that you're going to do. And plus, that becomes like a knowledge base for every single person who joins the company after you. That's the crux of every single thing that you do.
I love that point, by the way, right? not all GTMs are supposed to be paid media, right? And I think it's a luxury with scaled products, high frequency ones, right? But I think a lot of lessons should be learned for new founders, right? Can you embed a new feature or a product, GTM it into the flow of the user and how they're going through your product, right? Can you do that? And very interesting examples on how Swiggy has done it, how YouTube has done it, not only clips, lock screen, not other things. But I think a holy grail of this is AstroTalk, right? Because they have done it in their monetization bit. And like you were saying, right? About 150 crores of profit.
more than 100 crores,
more than
right?
100
And
crores of profit.
they're running like crazy. It's a company built on super insights about the user. What does the user need? Who is the user? Build great product around it and providing great experience to the users.
I don't think people understand whatever is happening around this whole spiritual tech.
Yeah.
We can, like you said, like 5 vices of life,
Yeah.
right? So Vikas basically said that there are 5 vices in life, and if you build a business there, there's probably no beating you. And I don't think people get it yet because
Yeah.
people start to get into the tactic bit. It's a spiritual app. Like, why are we becoming superstitious as a society?
Yeah.
Right? But sure, ignore that, right?
Yeah.
There's an insight in play.
Oh,
and there are
absolutely.
people minting hundreds of crores from it.
Let's understand this product and the user from a very different lens. Most of us would have thought that astrology as a space would have attracted users who are like maybe 35-ish, 40-ish, our parents or our seniors who are in maybe their mid-40s, because they would have had more closer association to something like astrology. It's not the cool thing in the market, right? So you cannot expect a Gen Z or a 25-year-old guy to be attached to this product, right? One of the key insights when when you start digging more around the product is age 20 to 28 years are one of the biggest segment for this user. And one of the key problem statements that come out during the astrology talks is relationships, career. Try and think it out from this perspective. Let's look at the dating space. What's happening there? It's like increasing in India, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get into a relationship. It's the new trend.
Yeah.
People believe that they should be there on the apps. They'll be able to find their partners over there. Let's club it with what's happening on the mental wellness space. Relationship is one of the key problem statements that people actually come out with during the mental wellness or a psychologist or a psychiatrist conversations. Club that with the same age group, what is there in dating, plug it with the whole mental wellness space because there is a problem that is associated there. And the third part is you bring astrology over there, right?
Crazy.
There is social stigma attached to all the 3 things that is there. The age group has a problem. The age group goes back to the mental wellness space onto that. And they also believe that there is an astrologer which can actually help them understand better that how is their future looking like. As growth and product managers, can you zoom in and side by side, can you zoom out as well?
Yeah.
Look at a broader perspective of the user, not just on your product, users' behavior on different products which might be similar to your product or different self, right?
Yeah.
But if the user is same, the behavior pattern is still there in their life. It's not changing. If you club like 3 different industries, like that's like a beautiful way of looking at it.
I literally remember when the time you said it, like, man, I didn't look at it from that angle. And I think it's super beneficial for any founder building in any space, right? Is this not your industry? I mean, think about the AstroTalk founder. If you would have thought about it in terms of, okay, just build for people looking for guidance in pujas. And it's not that.
Yeah.
Like what's happening across industries for the same demographic. People face the same problem. And it's a masterclass on how they've clubbed it with, like you said, right? Like
Absolutely.
dating space, mental wellness, relationships being present throughout.
Absolutely.
And then clubbing it with people who want outcomes, people who want
100%.
solutions. Okay, tell me what's going to happen now. I don't want to solve it. Tell me what's going to happen.
But I want to know it.
I want to know it.
I want to know everything about my future. I'll not go and tell this to my friend that I used, something in astrology space because that's not cool.
Cool, that's not cool.
But I would love to use it privately.
It's a non-sexy business.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
non-sexy business that understands its users really well, built a great product and is minting money.
So we spoke about very interesting insights around macro and that tying into you building a product. So AstroTalk is fascinating. Let's talk about how they monetize product and everything we spoke around. You GTMing on your user's journey. I think this is a masterclass in it, right?
Yeah.
And I would say people should keep the stigma of spirituality away from it. But I think a lot of founders have a lot to learn from.
Beautifully crafted insights, right? That come inside this particular product, built in certain ways, right? And the first time paid user is brilliantly onboarded via the whole chat experience that they give, providing the time that is left inside the chat. When the astrologer is typing, the whole typing section showcasing in that your astrologer is actually typing what they think about your question, right? That helps or nudges the user to ask more questions. These are the things they're doing right? Let's also think about what more they can do, right? It's a typical mindset that all of us have, right? It's so difficult inherently, so difficult for us to ask more questions, right? On the search or on the chat screen, right? Can they help users with more options of different questions that they can ask to the astrologer? Right?
GPT prompts.
Absolutely, prompts, right? How does that help me, right? Again, let's take the typical GrowthX analogy, right, of dating. We find it so difficult to approach people. We find it so difficult to start our first conversation with people, maybe on a dating platform or in different parties. And similar behavior is seen on any of these platforms as well, right? Prompts can help user ask more questions, ask more relevant questions. This helps the user in understanding more about what they want to ask about their future. It also helps the company in monetizing this user, because every single chat is equal to every single minute spent, which is equal to the money that they make. So that's one key feature that can be plugged in on the chat as well, right? How do they bring more LTV on the scenario, right? Because that's the most important part, rather than just getting the first paid user, is the retention, right? A few analysis, right? People have spent crores on that particular platform in a year's time. So we won't believe that, but that's the reality. I went inside the product just to check the flows and understand more about the journey and the product. The way they try and bring back the user on their platform is users actually come back to the platform to see what their astrologer had written about different things that they can do in their life to overcome certain things, maybe the rings they can wear, or other stuffs that the astrologer advised. Put it in a form of a PDF and show it to the user as soon as they are coming on the app, right? And that is like the part of the first thing they see on the homepage, right? That this is the previous chat that I had, right? If the user has more to talk about, right, or certain things fell in place, the user has the nudge to go and ask more, shift topics. If I was talking more about relationships, I would go and talk about my career now, right? Because now I feel, okay, this works. So that's something that they have done brilliantly in terms of getting users hooked to their platform. And plus definitely the whole angle of customer experience, bringing in verified astrologers, that's brilliantly done in terms of reviews, ratings, and everything. So this is not just with AstroTalk, this is across different products that is there in astrology space. And then adding more and more insightful services, right? Like giving the puja darshans, opening up mini stores inside their platform, right? Whatever the astrologer is advising, you can buy it from the store, right? So these are all something which will help them increase the breadth of the user across different services that they launch, right? So that helps them keep monetizing it, where the core still becomes the chat with the astrologer piece, right?
I have two big takeaways, right? Honestly, the first one, this honestly changed the way I think a little bit when we were having our first conversation, was you can build a great product, right? But if you don't solve for distribution and GTM, only your family members use the product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And second is, not everything has to be advertised, but can you embed features, basically enhance your user's experience in their journey? I would like to summarize it in the way, okay, imagine a founder is watching this, or an early team is watching this, right? And they have a product. Out of this whole conversation, what would be your biggest takeaways for them?
Even before you build a product or a feature, always be super curious about insights, and do not think of insights only from your product's perspective. Also look at what is happening in the macro environment. So clubbing macro plus micro in the insights will help you build scalable products and features, solving for the right problems that you're trying to do. The second part of the theory is, most of us are pretty good at understanding which user to go after, why are we building this feature, for which user segment. I think most of us tend to get that particular thing, but the layer below it is the whole distribution angle, where distribution is not just about throwing this random messages to every single user. It is about reaching the right audience with the right messaging from the right channel at the right cost at the right time. And with so many channels available, we need to be super careful in terms of, are we using the right channel to communicate about this particular feature or product that we have built? It may be, the whole off product, which we call as all the social, all the TV, all the radios and everything, and clubbing it with inside the product understanding, right? Building new widgets, making the user understand the whole navigation flow, building nudges inside user journeys, which is relevant for the user. Clubbing those distribution pattern with whole the distribution network and the adoption angle will help scale or get more adoption to any features that is required. The last part was around the success metrics. I think most of us tend to put the right metrics in place, which we want to measure. We should definitely have all these metrics in terms of the kind of things we want to achieve ready beforehand.
Yeah.
And do not change it midway during your GTM,
Yeah.
right? So that's like the critical part of it. And final closure point was on the documentation part. Do not miss that. That's like the critical part and would showcase or would behave more like a backbone for everything that you do at your company in terms of any product or features GTM.
Lovely. I think I have actually used to literally go and I'm going to put something up on Slack, literally apply it right now. But I think super helpful, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking.